AITA for ending my engagement after my fiancée told her best friend she wasn't engaged. My now ex-fiancée, 30 female, and me, male 27, got engaged 3 weeks ago. We've been dating for 5 years and I finally got the money to give her the wedding she wanted. Well, 3 days ago we were discussing our guest list. And I asked if she wanted to invite her best friend. Let's call him James, M30. James lives in another state. But since they were friends for 10 years, I thought I could even pay for his travel expenses, since it would be great to have her best friend at the wedding. She denied, saying that it would take a lot of work to bring him, and she wanted to be a family event. Countless times she mentioned that James was like family to her. So I insisted. She got annoyed and said I didn't even told him we were engaged. That took me by surprise. I tried to ask why, but she started stonewalling me, and I left her alone. After a couple of hours I tried to ask her again why she haven't told him we were engaged. And she still refused to tell me, and I admit, my insecurity got the better of me. In the past James had confessed he had feelings for her, which she turned down and basically friend-zoned him. But by the way she told me, it always sounded like she had him as a backup. Something not only me, but her exes realized. She married him online. They always made they wow characters look like a couple. Like wearing the same transmog and shit like that. When she had a fight with her exes, he was always there for her and etc. I told her that made me uncomfortable, and if she was not planning to tell him, she might as well consider herself single. Cause I would not marry someone who couldn't be honest. Yes, I was pretty immature. But she did something even more immature. She texted him while showing me her phone something like, "Hey, just so you know, I was engaged. But not anymore," and send it to him. I told her to pack her things and leave my house. Ever since she left, she has been calling me, but I refused to answer. My mom called me, because she apparently called my mom, and said that I was an asshole for ending things for such a ridiculous thing. Comments. Comment 1. AITA. If I could tell Buddy to remain patient. He's taken some big steps in a very short time, and seems to be focused on self-improvement and self-reflection. All healthy signs after a breakup, but then the ex stays in his mind due to the other guy in the relationship. If he can just stay patient, he would see that the new relationship won't amount to anything either, as these backup situations rarely do. If they were so compatible, they would have been together in the first place. Comment 2. I see. Think she and James are going to realize neither of them actually like each other as much as they thought they would. James is going to see how shitty and fair weather she is, and she's going to realize that she jumped to the next secure thing, regardless of actual romantic feelings. If she really wanted to be with him, she would have a long time ago. Update 1. My still ex-fiancée, and since a lot of people asked for an update, here it is. But I want to clarify a few things. As commented on my original post, I pay for the house since I bought it before dating her, and I asked her to move in, since it was close to her job. I work from home since I'm in tech, but she had to go to work. That's why I paid for her car, to help her commute, and honestly her salary is shit. I was her partner, so I didn't see any problem with that. I thought she was the one. Despite everything, she is smart, funny, we had chemistry, but I felt betrayed. To the update. We met at a coffee shop on the premise we would discuss how to save our relationship. At least, that's what she thought. As soon as we sat down, I asked to see their messages. She got defensive immediately and told me she had deleted everything. I asked to see her phone anyway. She started to cry, ugly cry, asking me to stop. At that point I had already decided I was not going to be part of the relationship anymore. But damn, I was curious. It took a good 20 minutes for her to hand me her phone. A lot of crying. Even a waitress asking her if she was okay. So I read the messages. There wasn't any cheating like nudes being exchanged, them professing their love for each other, but what I read still stung. There was a lot of shit talking about me. A lot. Texts and texts of them saying how terrible of a person I was, criticizing my hobbies. I like video games and pro wrestling. Saying I wasn't a real man because of them and stuff like that. But there were 2 topics that caught my eye. One where she had told him I was having trouble getting hard, and that was frustrating for her. And one where she was complaining about how she didn't want to be stuck in our relationship. Yes, I was having problems in bed. Because I was sad because my father had passed away 6 months ago, and the stuck thing. I remember telling her that when we got married, if she wanted she could leave her job, and I would provide for both of us. I don't know if she took this the wrong way, but I guess it was related to that. I honestly don't know. By the time I gave her the phone back, She was already giving excuses on why she was saying those things to him. How he was like a therapist for her. And then she asked me, "Don't you complain about me to your friends?" And I simply replied, "No, I don't." She started crying again. I took a pretty deep breath and just said, "Just give me the ring back." I didn't have the ring with me, like some suggested. She hesitated a bit, but gave it to me anyway. I stood up and asked her to delete my number and to not bother me anymore. I called her mom and asked her to pick up her daughter's stuff at my place. Her mom is a good person. I'm just realizing I'm going to miss her as I write this. She understood why I decided to end it. But she didn't ask much. And to be honest, I'm glad she didn't. As for my mom, I didn't call her. I just blocked her for things unrelated to this post. I just realized she never had my back in anything. I was always trying to save an already failed mom-son relationship. Before I leave, I just want to clarify. I was never against her having male friends, or any type of friends. People are going to cheat, friends or no friends. I remember my dad saying something to me when I was a teenager. He always said opportunity makes the thief. But I do not agree with that. Anyway, since I have the next 2 weeks off work, I'm going to figure what to do with the wedding money, drink some booze, play games and watch Monday Night Raw later. Peace. P.S. Sorry for any typos, but I fixed the title now. Edit. A couple of people are asking about the car. Is a 2015 Nissan Versa which she crashed 2 times. Both times she rear-ended someone. Never liked the car. Weak engine. The interior feels cheap and overall bad. So for all I care, she can keep that piece of shit. I would have more luck throwing it off a cliff than selling it. Edit 2. Little update. Her mom called me a few hours ago to check on me, and to ask when she could come and pick up X's stuff. We spoke about the car and she basically forbid me to let her daughter keep the car because 1. I paid for it. 2. X wouldn't be able to maintain it. So I'm going to keep the car until I'm able to sell it. God help me. Also, some people called the story fake. Cause they said I wasn't a real man for playing games. And yet they played woo-woo. To be honest, that's on me. Cause I wasn't very clear. The real man thing was more about the pro wrestling hobby than the gaming hobby. But in some messages they clearly mocked me for playing some games. Life is Strange series. In one I remember James saying something like, "How could a grown-ass man play such a girly game and cry?" Yes, I cried playing Life is Strange. I also cried to Rudder too. The I'm Afraid cutscene still makes me emotional. I'm a crybaby, I guess. Also, I want to thank everyone who messaged me to talk about wrestling and games. It really helped me take my mind out of everything. I haven't replied to everyone, but I intend to. If anything happens, I'll let you guys know. Be good people. Leeple. Update 2. It's been a couple of days since I used this account to tell my story, and something's happened, but this is a positive update. First, I want to say thank you to everyone who reached out in my DMs and commented saying nice things. It felt really good and I appreciate y'all. Some of you actually made me tear up with your kind messages. Second, I saw my 2 previous posts were in a YT video of a guy who reads Reddit posts and my update was on a subreddit I read a lot. And that caught me off guard. But I want to express my gratitude for everyone who gave me advice, told their own story, or just told me I was a cool guy. Reading your messages before writing this felt amazing. I also want to say I thought about my engagement a lot, and I have no regrets whatsoever. Yeah, things ended badly and she was not a good person to me at the end. But I just don't hate her. Nor do I wish for her to fail. We had good moments. I felt happy with her, and again I really thought she was the one. Feeling hatred was going to harm me more than her. To the update. Her mom came to pick up her stuff and we talked for hours. It felt like therapy. I cried on her shoulders, we laughed. She expressed how much I meant to her family, and that I would be always welcome in her home. It felt so good to hear her say those things to me. Before she left, she asked me if I wanted to ask about my ex. I got curious and asked how she was doing. Her words were, "She's trying to act stoic, but I know my daughter, she's not taking this well." I left it at that. She gave me a hug and left. About the car, I'm going to donate it and get a tax write-off. But to the thing I'm excited about is that I'm going to Royal Rumble. I never even watched Raw or SmackDown live. But now that I have the extra cash, I'm going to treat myself. Again, thank you all for reaching out. Sorry to the people who love drama that this update doesn't have an unwanted pregnancy, a fight, chaos or a plot twist. The truth is that my life is just really boring. Be kind, people. Update 3. Most of you might not remember me cause my original post was 2 months ago. But something happened that I thought was worthy of an update. Well, since the breakup I tried to be as busy as possible. Go to work, gym, play on my new Switch. On weekends I started modding and repairing old consoles, a hobby that turned out to be quite expensive. I even modded my own Switch, sorry Nintendo. And I was managing to get through the days without feeling sad. Well, yesterday my ex-Mil called me to catch up on things. She has been calling me every week or so, and invited me to spend Christmas at her house with her family. I immediately refused. Because even if I don't hate my ex, there are other people I would rather spend the holidays with. But then she said something that kinda made me a bit sad. She said my ex was not going to be there since she was spending her Christmas with James, since they are now kinda dating, her words. I replied that I was not sure if I would go. I'm going to be honest, feelings are complex things. Maybe my pride or ego is hurt, since I feel she moved on really quickly. Maybe I still have feelings, I don't know. 2 months is not a long time when it comes to this stuff. I noticed my tone changed and said, look sweetie, it's up to you. If you want to come, you're more than welcome. I thanked her. We said our goodbyes and hung up. I know how Reddit usually respond about those things, so I'm giving my insight. My ex-Mil had no intention of making me sad. She is a really honest person and I do believe she was just explaining that it was okay for me to go, since my ex wouldn't be there. So yeah, I'm feeling kinda shitty right now. But it will pass. Maybe I even change my mind and go spend Christmas with them. Ex-Mil is one of the best I ever ate. I wouldn't mind a free plate, lol. And I want to apologize to the people who sent DMs about buying the car. By the time I saw your messages, I already had donated. That's it. Happy holidays to everyone. Now, for the next story. AITA for considering removing my maid of honor and her partner from the bridal party just 10 days before my wedding. My best friend from high school. For the sake of this post, her name will be Livy. Since the beginning of our friendship I have known about Livy's traumatic background that has caused her to have severe PTSD, anxiety, and depression. I too came from a rough background and we bonded over shared trauma. Livy has a tendency to isolate herself from everyone around her when she is extremely overwhelmed and or depressed. About a month and a half before the wedding, she stopped talking to me. After about a week of her not responding, I went over to her house to check in on her. She explained to me what she was going through and I was right there to listen and try to help to the best of my abilities. She kept speaking to me for a few days and then stopped again. I gave her some space, but I needed her to be at a meeting with my wedding manager to go over some fine details for the wedding. She showed up and started speaking again for a few days. Then she stops again. I give her some more space because I don't want to overwhelm her even more than she already is. 2 weeks go by and my family hosts a bridal shower for me. She swore that she'd be there. 30 minutes after it starts. I don't hear from her. I call her and text her but there is nothing. After I had called her a second time, her boyfriend shows up at the door with a gift. He explains that Livy isn't doing too well today, and she's been having extremely bad panic attacks all morning. I let it be and give her the day. The next day we had a meeting set for all the bridesmaids to get together at my home and go over details such as hair, makeup, shoes, times X, for the big day. I had texted her all morning trying to see how she was doing and if she would be there tonight. I called her several times through the day with no luck. My fiancé, also a good friend of hers, also called her to check in with no luck. Finally, about 30 minutes before the meeting was supposed to start, my fiancé calls her BF and tells him that he is on his way to come get her for the meeting. The beef explains that they are actually at a bay party for someone in his family. The meeting was set up a month prior, as to make sure it was set in everyone's schedules. My fiancé at this point was getting extremely angry, and I was having a meltdown because another one of my bridesmaids also wasn't responding to me. The other bridesmaid lost her phone and forgot about the meeting. Livy went for another week without speaking to me. Exactly 2 weeks before the wedding I sent her this text. Hey girl, I understand that you are struggling, but with the wedding 2 weeks away, I really need communication when you need help. I feel like I am losing you, and I don't want that. I love you and I will always be here for you. I need to know that I can count on you too. Crickets for the next few days. Yesterday I tried to call her several times with no answer. So I went to her home to check in on her. We waited for about 10 minutes outside. We could hear them inside and we called both her and her BF to see if they were okay. Finally I left. I spoke to my wedding manager, who is also my uncle, to get his opinion on it, as well as my mother. Both of them said that I only get one wedding day. I need to focus on my happiness right now. They both advised me to send her a text saying that if I don't hear from her, or her BF certain day, I need to move forward. The show must go on. I ended up sending this message to her. Hey, I know that you are struggling right now. And if it helps, we can take the responsibility from the wedding off of you, and you can be a guest. You are my best friend and I'd love to have you at my wedding, even if it means that you are just a guest. Please let me know by Friday at 7 p.m. if you'd still like to be in the bridal party. If I don't hear from you by then, I will have to move forward, and I will see you as a guest at the wedding. I really don't want to lose her as a friend, but I really need someone who I can rely on because the wedding is in 9 days. Comments. Comment 1. OP on being accused of prioritizing her wedding over Maid's mental health. I'm confused? Was OP not supposed to? It's her wedding, her event to celebrate love. Was she just supposed to cancel it or reschedule because someone else was having a breakdown? Far as I can tell, it's not like she told Lizzie to get her shit together. She gave her space, but OP has a wedding to plan. Comment 2. Am I the only one surprised at the bride's patience? If my Mo had been MIA for a long time and missed several key pre-wedding events, and seemed to be avoiding me, no contact, canceled appearance to go to a birthday party, I don't think that I would have left it up in the air less than 2 weeks out from the wedding. Even if she were in some sort of traumatic spiral, I think that would still be an indicator that it would also be in her own best interests to officially step down from the role. Update. It has been a month since mine and my husband's wedding. Everything is going beautifully and we cannot be happier. The wedding was beautiful with only a few hiccups along the way. Another one of my bridesmaids was extremely helpful to us, and stepped in as Moho. She really didn't have to do much except for be at my side, because she is physically unable to do much strenuous activities due to her pregnancy. All of my bridesmaids were beautiful and extremely helpful to me on our big day. As for Levy, I haven't heard from her since I sent the text letting her know that I needed to hear from her. The day after the deadline for us to hear from them, I messaged her BF, Dan, directly letting him know that he was still welcome to attend our wedding as a guest. We had a long conversation going back and forth, and we ended on good terms. The next week we went to a friend's Halloween party where Dan was present. There he confided in me that Levy was getting too toxic for him, and he was going to ask her to move out. From what I have heard, it didn't end well. He was hoping they could stay together, but live separately in hopes of mending their relationship. When she moved out, she had taken his laptop with her, and the last time they spoke, he asked for it back, and she pretty much spat in his face. Levy has cut off all contact with what used to be mutual friends, which has put a strain on them. Dan did end up going to the reception, and it was nice to see him there. My husband and I speak to him every so often to try and keep touch so he doesn't feel alone in this point in his life. For those who are wondering, Dan and I spoke about what I could have done to make Levy act in such a way. He told me that she vented to him a lot, and told him about how she was fed up with my husband and I. But because he is also a friend, he chose not to listen to much else she had to say about us. The reason he wasn't speaking to us was to try and save his relationship with Levy. I have removed Levy as a friend on all social media platforms, but I still have her number saved just in case she ever wants to talk it over. Again, we share trauma experiences over stonewalled. And I never want anyone with those experiences to feel alone with they have their times, when they are struggling. Thank you all for your advice for my last post. I hope you all have a wonderful holiday season.